Well, good morning there, Patriots. How are you doing today, Michael?
Good morning, Ben. Constitution vet Ben. I'm good. How are you?
I am tired, and the reason why I'm tired is because I actually am doing a night shift ride along with a local police department that I'm applying for. So that's why I look like this. So when this is all done, I'll be going back to bed.
So this is the end of your day, basically, end of a long.
Pretty
Wait.
much, yeah. Well,
So how
well, the
long
good
was
thing
the?
is, well, it'll be for the full 12-hour shift.
Wow.
But my
So
military experience has trained me on
yeah,
being able to switch like that. It's not easy, but it's doable for me. So
yeah. I guess in military training, you just have to be minimally functional. you,
that's
have,
pretty much it. Yeah.
you have to know you should pull the trigger right now. That's about it. Those are bad
it's
guys. Pull the trigger.
it's normal to be told if you're on a day shift, it's normal to be told by your supervisor, "Hey, you're going night shift, go home, get some sleep." And that's it.
Oh. So you did. You weren't on. Wait. Were you on the ride along last night?
No,
Or
what I'm saying is
you're going on that one.
in the military,
Oh, yeah,
you could be told to switch shifts like that,
yeah, yeah.
right? Thank you, Bonnie. Yeah, and so I'm
And the
applying to
cops
multiple
know.
departments actually, and there's one near where I live called Colleyville. In Colleyville, it has a very good program, and so I've done the application process. Now I'm just waiting on the background investigation, and so yeah, I'm doing a ride along tonight. It's from 7 to 7.
Wow, that's why you need to get your beauty sleep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll never get the beauty part, but the sleep, yes, I can achieve that.
My youngest daughter is she's just going to be super super beautiful because she likes to sleep. Anyway, all right, tangent. All right, so we got people populating the chat session. It's so nice to have my mom back. That's Bonnie. We're gonna call you
Oh
Ben the
yeah.
cop now because Bonnie Creighton, mom's in the house. So, what are we talking about?
So another reason why I look like this is also to illustrate what you can look like when you're in academia, when you're in college, working
Hmm.
towards those degrees. Okay, so this whole episode today is about academia and the reality of academia. Okay, in your mind, okay, in your perspective, what is college? What is it? What's the purpose of it? Why do people go? Like, what is college?
What college is or should be, or uh, college is access to the rest of the world, essentially,
Oh, okay. Okay.
right? It's like
Sure.
there's a lot out there. It's 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 to introduce you to other ways of existing outside of the family. Go and there's a broader world out there, and you have to enter it, and so you better
Mhm,
decide what direction you're going to go with your life.
mhm.
Here, have at it. Here's an innumerable number of directions to go in.
So what you're saying is the college is basically a door into different futures, I guess.
Potential futures, yeah.
And that's totally valid. The problem now though, in today's day and age, academia sadly it still has those doors to futures, but only the doors that college wants to be open. I watched a video yesterday from Dr. Steve Hurley, and his video was about a Christian woman who won a lawsuit against her college that she attended. Her name is Megan DeYoung, and she won an $80,000 lawsuit because the school she went to, Southern Illinois University, there were some students in her class that literally made what's the word? It's the legal order that prevents you from communicating with them. A
Yes.
protection.
Yeah. I know what you're talking because I watched that video as well. A She couldn't restraining order.
Yeah, it's a certain word,
It's
but
like
the point is
Yeah.
Yeah, it was illegal. It was basically a restraining order that prevented Megan from communicating with her classmates in this one class. And then her professor also got on board and legally prevented her from attending class. Now, you would ask yourself, okay, well, why is this? Did Megan cheat? Did she abuse the other students? Did she uh, incite violence in her class? No, it's all because she had a different opinion. She had a different point of view. And she was silenced, legally silenced by not just her classmates, but by her teacher. And what's even sadder is the college as a whole, the department, the university sided with the professor and the other students. All because this woman chose to stand her ground and
Yeah. So
her beliefs.
what radical, dangerous, violent language was she using?
Well, the two examples that she provided, number one, she wore clothing that stated, "I support the police, I support cops," and that was a big no-no.
Yeah.
And then she had, what was it? I think it was an anti-abortion stance in the class. Well, that also was
Posted on her
huge.
social media, right?
That's right. Yeah, it was a huge no-no. And to make it even worse, she had the audacity to put her opinions in the virtual town square. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Right? And so, but what's so fascinating is not only did she win her case, not only were those professors forced to attend training on constitutional right,
Yeah.
right?
Freedom of speech training.
But what's
Right.
so fascinating is when you look at the numbers, more colleges in the world, non Christian colleges, they're suffering. Their doors are closing because they do not have the attendance that they need to stay open. However, private Christian colleges have actually skyrocketed in attendance. Well, why is that? Well, the truth is, and I'm speaking from experience, I have 3 degrees literally right here next to me.
Hmm.
The truth is, academia is not what it used to be. Academia as a whole, while it does have admirable attributes, and it's not all bad, what I've learned is when you go into college, whether it's community college, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, it doesn't matter. If you are in a department that does not align with your views, you got to be careful because that department, that college could silence you. They could ostracize you, all because you're different. Now, public schools and private schools do have different standards that they can follow. Southern Illinois University was a public institution. Okay. But from my experience, what I've seen, the reason why I do not have a PhD, the reason why I chose not to become Dr. Harper is because I've seen what happens. You could spend 5 to 6 years of your life working on research, things that you're passionate in. But if that does not align with that department's ideology, guess what? You're not getting that title of doctor, and you're not earning your doctorates. And so academia used to be a place where all ideas are explored, where you could be that critical thinker. Sadly, it looks like academia is becoming more of individualized echo chambers. If you go to a university that aligns with your values, then great, you're good. That's why I went to Texas A&M University. But if you go to a university that does not align with your values, you're basically wasting money. You are throwing your money in the trash because you could be another Megan DeYoung, and that was the woman who won her lawsuit. And so my question now is back to you, Michael. Like, your view of college is valid, but have you noticed this this pernicious issue in academia.
Well, you were asking me what college is supposed to be. You didn't ask what is college
Right,
now.
right.
Yeah, so
Sure.
I'm right there with you. And let me just give you my background. I have a bachelor's degree,
Mhm.
and I didn't start college till I was 24.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
live in a culture where there's the normal, right? This is how things are supposed to go. You go through
Mhm.
elementary school and middle school, and I mean junior high or high school, and then you go to college and you get your degree. And if you want to keep going, you keep going. And when you're 25 or 28, you have a PhD or something, right? However long it takes you. And that's the way you do it. And
Mhm.
so and mom is here and she will testify to this. Uh, All right, sorry, I have to address this one thing. Sorry, I have to address this. I'll get back to this. Welcome, Elisheva. I like the name. I don't know how to pronounce it, but Elisheva Jones. Suggestion: haircut will look more polished and professional.
If you go to
Dude,
college.
dude, I'm a professional in Hollywood. I could trust me. I could look totally like a homeless guy and still work in Hollywood. Trust me. I am a professional at what I do. Anyway, sorry. Okay, so mom will attest to this. My upbringing was not the normal. Yes, I went through school, and I made it through high school in 4 years by the grace of God. I went to 6 schools in 3 different states for 4 years of high school. All right,
Wow.
so that was the instability. And then as my mom, who was the breadwinner, by the way, thank you, mom, for
Mhm.
having a work ethic and a good job and a good career. She's an RN, registered nurse, for 40 plus years, healthcare worker. I want to go on a tangent. I talked to her at the beginning of the pandemic, and she's like, "What? A mask for a virus? What?" Anyway,
Yeah.
having my personal health professional tell me what's going on, but she was just trying to hold down the fort. She didn't have, in a normal family, you have a father and a mother, and you raise your kids up the right way, and by the grace of God, I turned out okay without all of that. I had
Mhm.
people,
Mhm.
both my parents loved me. They weren't together, and it wasn't a normal situation. So I didn't have anybody saying, all right, after high school, you go to college and go get your degree. Nobody ever in my life told me I needed to go to college.
Right. Right.
Nobody. And then God gets a hold of me. A radical transformation. I was 18, and God calls me into ministry, and I'm working for in youth ministry, and I will go away to a Bible college, right? And so I don't count that. I wasn't 24 when I went to the Bible college. I was like 20. So
Mm.
but I didn't count that as going to college to get a degree. It was a non-denominational, non-accredited, right? So technically it wasn't college, but they had solid teaching there.
Mhm.
And I got a firm foundation in biblical things, right? Seminary level stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't have the equivalent of a seminary degree, but I have the equivalent of 2 years of seminary level study.
Yeah.
So then I go and work in ministry, and I go in the mission field. And as an intellectual, even before I was a Christian, I read heady philosophical stuff, and then as a Christian, it was so satisfying to realize that Christianity is the whole package, right? It's not all this just good feels and good people and doing good things, but it's like, no, everything makes sense because God designed your brain and the universe, right? And so since God designed both, they should make sense. And so it's been so satisfying as a Christian to use my mind, worship the Lord your God with all your mind. What does that mean?
Mhm.
And as I meditated on that, I'm like, oh, well, if God has something in store for me that I need to be credible, maybe I need a degree. So it was like logical. I'm like, okay, I'll pursue and get a degree, right? Because
Okay, I gotcha.
so I was using college as
Yeah.
that, right? It's the piece of paper that some people need, right? Some people need to see that you have a degree before they even listen to you, and that's
Yeah.
legitimate. It's legitimate. It's not universal. Like, for example, I remember one time before I had my college degree, before I even started college, I think I was in a chat room. Remember those chat rooms?
Yes.
Arguing apologetics. I think we're arguing evolution and the problem with evolution. And there was a guy on my side in the chat room, and then there was a guy who was, attacking me or hostile. And the guy that was on my side, one of his slanders to the other guy was, "I bet you don't even have a degree." Right? This is a guy that was arguing on my side, talking to the person that was, and "I bet you don't even have a degree." And I'm like, "I don't have a degree." The guy on my side is attacking the other guy. "I don't have a degree, but I read books, right? I engage like J.P. Mullen and Michael Dembski and Behe and Michael Denton. There's all these incredibly, if you're going to use your mind, read some good Christian books by Christian apologetics." And so I'm assimilating all this knowledge and repeating it, right? So I'm saying all this to say, we have access to abundant knowledge. You don't need a degree, right, to get an education. You do not need to go to an institution to become educated and apply yourself and succeed. And in fact, somebody did a survey some time ago that the most successful people were B average. Most financially successful people were B and C average students, right? So it's like, okay. So in my personal experience, where I'm at right now, I have a 21-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 15-year-old. So college, and what we're talking about right now, is right at the forefront of our lives, and it's a point of tension for me, because I see what you're talking about is academia in our country has been essentially politicized, or it's gone the way, it's been taken over in the most, like the most credible universities are literally going in the opposite direction. They're literally, because they're the most credible, the disease, the mind disease has crept in there, and that credibility is actually, it's inversed now. Like, so to look at academia, if you look at the most credible brands, run in the other direction, unless you have a foundation, right? Unless you have a firm foundation that won't be shaken. Like if this girl you're talking that Dr. Turley was talking about, she's one of those, right? She was raised right, has a good Christian foundation, and can hold her own in a classroom and not back down, and be bold and be attacked and be ostracized and be kicked out, and get Alliance Defending Freedom on her side, to take her case and win. And
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, one of the commenters, I think it was Carrie, that said $80,000 was not enough. Yeah, $80,000 is a drop in the bucket, and it probably barely covered the legal fees. But that's beside the point. It's the win, right? It is the win.
Right. And, I also need to be clear, too. I'm not saying all colleges are bad. I'm not saying all of academia is bad. However, looking at the stats, it looks like more academic institutions are embracing Marxist ideology, which is appeal to the collective, not create critical thinkers. That's it. Yep. It used to be you go to these institutions of higher learning to become a better critical thinker, right?
Now you're told what to think. Yeah. Rather than learning to think,
if you don't think this way, you're going to be ostracized. You're going to be persecuted.
You literally get dumber, right? You by being indoctrinated, right? Being brainwashed. And I use that phrase, and my wife hates it. Like, it's brainwashing. Like, it is being told what to think. That's brainwashing. Being told these are the okay thoughts and these are the unokay thoughts, and you go through and you get a PhD in that mind frame. You're literally getting stupider and stupider as your degree gets more impressive. Right. You are stupider.
Your echo chamber gets smaller.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I went to college is, like, here I am attacking college, and I have 3 college degrees. The reason why is, number one, I served in the military, so my college was free.
Nice.
So I didn't have a major expense on my shoulders. That's the first thing. Number two, I went to college later in my life. I was considered a non-traditional student. So I already had life experience under my belt before I went to school. So
And
I
that
didn't
makes a
waste time.
huge difference.
It's a huge difference.
Like I
I
said, I was
cannot tell
24.
you.
I
Yeah.
was 24 when I started. I'm sitting there
Yeah.
absorbing and consuming everything
Yep.
while your
I
18-year-old's
can't
going,
tell you.
more school. Oh, it's more
Right.
school.
I can't tell you how many kids I met at college who were there for the college experience. Well, what is that? Is it partying till 3 in the morning? Is it being late to your classes? Is it not going to your professor's office hours and actually getting help?
Mhm.
Is it going on protests that turn into riots? Is it changing your whole being because someone told you to? Like, is that the college experience? So when I went through, I knew if I wanted to be a teacher, I had to get a college degree. Okay, cool. Well, I want to get a degree that I'm interested in. History. Cool, check. Even within history, there were still professors that I didn't agree with. But guess what? I didn't take their classes then. I did my research. I planned effectively. I chose the right class, the right time with the right professor based off of their reviews. And when you do that, your experience is much more enjoyable. Okay. Now, for grad school, I did that while working full time. And it was grad school when I work on my master's degree. That's where I started seeing a lot of the deeper toxic issues
Hmm.
in academia. And so, now to be fair, I got way better at reading effectively. I got better at writing, at articulating my thoughts. I can do that really well now. I can read a book in one sitting and tell you what it's about. Cool. So I'm very grateful for that. But like you said, looking back at it, I could have done all of this without going to college. The only thing is, you don't get that fancy little degree that says, I'm educated, but you can still read the books. You can still educate yourself. And there are still careers out there that do not require a college degree that pay very well. Yeah, spot on, Robin.
Yeah. And yeah, it's important to make that distinction. You guys are anti-intellectual. No. Universities, right? It's Christianity gave birth to science, universities, hospitals, right? All of these things that are about improving the human experience, improving society. Those are all Christian ideas, right? And then they're planted and they grow and they thrive. And all the early Christian leaders of our nations went to these prestigious Christian schools, Harvard and Yale, right? These Christian universities. And then that's what happens when a movement turns into a business, turns into a whatever, and then it dies on the vine or whatever. But God is still moving, right? And that's what we're going through right now. And with the lockdowns, all of the silver lining on every cloud, right? These lockdowns closed a bunch of schools that needed to close, right? Because you don't have people showing up and paying their tuitions for the brick and mortar buildings that keep them afloat, and this massive shift to homeschooling, right? The homeschool population like almost doubled in like 2 years or something.
Yeah.
People, and then like my friends up in Moscow, Idaho, that just see this explosion of Christian universities, people gravitating to schools that teach classical Christian education, and classical education, the things that your social justice warrior, basket weaver, gender studies major, they'll get out and they'll owe $100,000 and not get a job, right? Not get a job and think they're owed a job by somebody and get angry and agitated because that's all they learned is to be angry and agitated by their angry and agitated activist professors, right? They're creating little versions of themselves. Whereas if you just want to grow as a human and know more and learn what actually happened in history and what these great thinkers that all of society is built upon, people are born thinking it's a blank slate. Like, no, what we live in, this culture that we live in, is built upon the shoulders of these incredible people that did incredible things, that had breakthroughs in knowledge and understanding and science and literature, etc. And that's what we should be consuming, so that we have an appreciation and understanding and can add to it and move forward in the progression of human society, right? We're progressing. God has a plan, and part of that plan is growing in knowledge, both secular and religious and spiritual, right? God created all things. He created the secular realm. We have this this tendency as Christians to think that word secular is somehow evil. Yeah,
Right.
and secularism is evil, but the secular is just like the grocery store, right? That's not a religious institution. I go to the grocery store. That's a secular activity, right? I pay
Right.
my taxes. That's a secular activity. Those are important things, and to build upon the society, we should want to be the best that we are. And
Well, and the thing is too, if one thing I told my students a lot is, look, if you want to go to college, that's fine. Just do your research. Go live your life first. Work a job. Pay the bills. Do something before college. Heck, you go to a community college. Get a taste of it first, and then determine if this is something you really want to do or not. Right? Then if you do decide to go, when you go, get to know your professors. Like really get to know them, because you will find some who will be on your side
Yep.
and they will fight for you. Those are the ones you want to stay close to. If I didn't have that in grad school, I would not have earned my master's degree, because
that's important to
yeah,
extremely important point is, even in these colleges that we'd be happy if they went out of business, you're going to find allies even there, right? That when you think about the enormous bloated bureaucracy of the U.S. government, right? We think that's evil. That's evil. Yeah, it's evil, but there's also good people enmeshed all the way through it, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
for example, whistleblowers in the FBI or whistleblowers in the IRS. It's like, why would these people be whistleblowers? Because they're good people all along, and they're a part of this machine, and they want to contribute somehow. And when the door opens for them to blow the whistle, those are God's agents on the inside. Same way with the universities. You've got to find them. If you're going to go to college, find the allies, find those people that are on your side, or at least are, well, you remember what was it? What's the name of that university? Oh shoot, what's his name? The two guys, it was the two brothers, Greenbolt. No, the university had a no white people on campus day. Right, they're like no white people on campus, and I forget the guy's name. It's escaping me. He's a brother. They're both very intelligent.
So these two guys, they did what?
It's not. Well, they're non-Christian, but because they were leftists, or at least the guy and his wife. So I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on
What did they do?
Weinstein. Well, they basically started the intellectual dark web, right? Some of those guys from the intellectual dark
Okay.
IDW, right?
Yeah.
And they were on the inside of the establishment, right? The leftist educators, socially
Mhm.
liberal, but seeing the insanity, they were red pilled, but not totally red pilled, right? They now are intellectual dark web voices, and the IDW. What is that, right? I can't believe I'm forgetting that. Eric Weinstein? No.
No, Weinstein was the monster in Hollywood.
Yeah, but that's the problem. You get associated with one. But they are, if you find, even if you're a Christian and a conservative and you go to a university, don't think all the liberal, quote unquote, leftist professors are the radicals, because some of them, like someone like Dershowitz, right? Alan Dershowitz, if he's one of your professors, he calls himself on the left. He would say he voted for Hillary Clinton, he voted for Joe Biden. Now he regrets that, but he is a rational person. So you can find even one of them as an ally.
He can
right?
think critically, right?
Thinking critically, right? So don't judge everyone because he doesn't believe everything I believe. You can, if you find those kinds of professors, those are actually some strong. Brett and Eric Weinstein. That's it. Chris Bounds.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, look them up. These guys are powerful voices, not Christian, but powerful voices for rationality, basically. All right, we're out of time. I was vamping too long trying to remember the names. All right, I'll let you sign up for us.
All right, Patriots, never surrender, never submit. You can be educated. You do not have to go to a prestigious Ivy League college. No, you can do whatever you want in your life. Just fight for truth, fight for freedom.
Love you, brother. See you next week or